distressed-filled voice on the other end was familiar to the 911 operator. A dispatcher at the Camden County Sheriff's Office in Camden County, North Carolina, sent out deputies to Hattie Graham's residence. When the deputies pulled into Hattie Graham's driveway, they saw Wade Cole standing by his car. He was obviously intoxicated as he tried to escape, but fell to the ground. He was quickly pulled up, handcuffed, and placed inside the sheriff's vehicle. Hattie Graham was leaning against the door that led into her kitchen. She was clutching her chest and pointing beside the house. Both deputies hurried in that direction and found her daughter, Teresa Graham, crying and cowering. "I can't take this anymore," she told them. "He's gotta go," Hattie told them. "This don't make no sense. He's gonna kill her sooner or later if y'all don't do something with him." In 1969, Wade Larry Cole was captain of the basketball team at P.W. Moore High School in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, a primary public high school for black students in the northeastern region of North Carolina during the period of segregation. Despite tumultuous times, Wade was seemingly optimistic about his future. No one really knows why his hopes, or possibly his dreams, were dashed. Almost 20 years later, Wade was living in Camden County, North Carolina, working on and off, smoking marijuana, drinking Wild Irish Rose, and using his common law wife, 32-year-old Teresa Graham, as his personal punching bag. The couple's two children, Assunta, 2, and Rod, 11, had unfortunately witnessed their mother being beaten and battered many times in their presence, as well as in the presence of their grandmother, 57-year-old Hattie Graham, who owned the house in which the 5 of them lived. On that Wednesday, June 22, 1988, when Wade Cole came home from work at about 5 in the evening, he went straight to the kitchen where Teresa was washing dishes at the sink. "Where's my dinner?" His fist collided with her face as she turned toward him. Holding the side of her head, Teresa followed him outside. "Why did you hit me?" He knocked her down and started hitting her about the head and face. Hattie ran out of the house in an attempt to stop Wade from battering her daughter. Wade shoved her, causing Hattie to fall and hit her head against the door of his car. Teresa and Wade's 11-year-old son, Rod, and Teresa's 13-year-old cousin, who was visiting at the time, scrambled to help Hattie up from the ground and back into the house. Hattie quickly called the police.
911, what's your emergency?
Deputies transported Wade and Hattie in separate vehicles to the magistrate's office, while Teresa stayed with the children. At the magistrate's office, a warrant was issued, and Wade was arrested for the assault of Hattie Graham. He posted bond and was ordered to stay away from the Graham's residence. Police officers accompanied him back to the house to retrieve his automobile and stayed until he left shortly before midnight. At approximately 1:36 a.m., less than 2 hours after police had watched Wade Cole drive away from the Graham residence, a police dispatcher in Elizabeth City, a nearby township, received a call from Hattie Graham, who sounded excited and out of breath. Her daughter, Teresa, was on the front porch, dead. Wade Cole had shot and killed her. She told the dispatcher that she had tried to stop the attack, but Wade Cole had knocked her down. The dispatcher in Elizabeth City contacted a deputy at the Camden County Sheriff's Office, who then called Hattie Graham. After talking to her, the deputy sped to the Graham residence. On his way, he radioed a description of Wade Cole to other law enforcement officers. When deputies arrived at the Graham residence, they found Teresa lying face down on the floor of the screened porch with a knife lying on top of her neck. A deputy entered the house and found Hattie Graham slumped over on the couch. A deputy took the children to the sheriff's department and interviewed them. Teresa's 13-year-old cousin stated that he was asleep on the couch when he heard a loud crash and saw Wade Cole break through the back door. According to the young man, Wade was armed with a .22 caliber rifle. He snatched the telephone cord out of the wall, went to Teresa's bedroom, pulled her out of bed, and shot her in the face and leg. He kept beating her while he was dragging her into the dining room. He rushed into the kitchen, grabbed a knife, returned to the dining room, and kept stabbing her. When Hattie Graham came out of her room and tried to intervene, Wade stabbed her. He then took Teresa onto the porch and continued stabbing her. Eventually, he stopped and yelled, "I told you I was going to kill you."
At 3:23 early morning on June 23, 1988, a patrol car in Elizabeth City spotted Wade Cole's automobile. He pulled him over and placed him under arrest without resistance. Wade turned to the arresting officer, looked him in the eyes, and dryly said, "Is she dead, man?" The patrolman detected a strong odor of alcohol on his breath and a smug coldness from his question. Wade Cole had also killed Hattie. Not with the stab wounds that penetrated her right breast and left arm, but with the heart attack precipitated by the stress of seeing him murder her daughter right in front of her. Teresa Graham's injuries were horrendous and inhuman. The medical examiner determined that she had received more than 100 stab wounds. Many could have been fatal. One pierced her heart. Others penetrated her spleen, liver, lungs, kidneys, and small intestines. Teresa also suffered 2 gunshot wounds, one to the right front part of her cheek and one to her left leg. Why had Wade Cole inflicted such a senseless overkill on the woman he claimed to love, his mate for 15 years, the mother of his 2 children? Wade Larry Cole was indicted on June 27, 1988 for the first-degree murder of Teresa Graham, and on October 17, 1988, for the second-degree murder of Hattie Graham. He was tried capitally in July 1989. Because Teresa Graham's murder was especially heinous, atrocious, and cruel, the state sought the death penalty. During his trial, Wade testified in what he called his own defense, claiming that he believed Teresa was having an affair and he lost control of his anger. He stated that when he got off work on the evening of the killings, he consumed some wild Irish rose wine and smoked a marijuana cigarette before returning home. He and Teresa fought because she told him to kiss her ass when he asked about dinner. After he was released for assaulting Hattie, he purchased more wild Irish rose wine. After drinking the alcohol, he phoned Teresa and she sounded out of breath. Wade testified that he heard the couch squeaking, and thinking she was having sex with a neighbor, he became angry and drove to the house. When he walked up, he thought he heard Teresa breathing heavily and the couch or bed was squeaking. He heard what he was sure was a male voice. That's when he went back to his truck, got his rifle, and returned to the house. He admitted losing control and shooting and stabbing Teresa, but denied stabbing Hattie Graham. He testified that when he realized what he was doing, he stopped, threw down the knife, and drove to Elizabeth City where he slept for an hour. He also denied that he said, "I told you I was going to kill you," after he stabbed Teresa. There was absolutely no evidence of such an affair, Assistant District Attorney Robert Trevette said after the conclusion of the trial. Wade Cole was found guilty of 1 count of first-degree murder for Teresa Graham, and another count for the involuntary manslaughter of Hattie Graham. He was sentenced to death plus 10 years. On appeal, he was awarded a new trial. During his second capital trial, the jury returned verdicts of guilty on one count of first-degree murder and guilty on one count of involuntary manslaughter. The jury again recommended a sentence of death for the first-degree murder of Teresa Graham, but sentenced him to only 2 years imprisonment for the involuntary manslaughter of Hattie Graham. Several years later, after being denied numerous appeals, Wade Cole was given a reprieve, so to speak. His 68 IQ eventually resulted in his death sentence being commuted to life. Wade Larry Cole has been incarcerated for 31 years, of which 9 were spent on death row. Nothing like the strapping bully who tortured and terrorized the Graham family for years, Wade Cole today is a fragile 74-year-old inmate.
He will be housed until his death at Central Prison, a maximum confinement institution located in Raleigh, North Carolina.